Every once in a while, you just want a change. Something new and different. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes along and combines two things that were perfectly ordinary into something suddenly very extraordinary.
Chicken and waffles, waffles and ice cream, actually waffles with pretty much about anything. Any type of food in the deep fryer, peanut butter and chocolate. Okay, I'm kind of actually hungry. But anyway, what we're talking about is Jane Austen in space.
AKA Arabella of Mars by David Levine.
Has space boats, Martians, privateers, mutinies, and automatons, and it has someone's favorite trope, a girl disguising herself as a boy, in Regency England, no less, where your class and breeding pretty much determine your lot in life.
Good times.
Our story begins with Arabella as she's being sent from her home on Mars back to England by request of her mother. She thinks that Arabella's education and hunting and all things Martian will make her unmarriageable. She'll be wild and unladylike if she keeps socializing with the natives.
Arabella is completely unhappy in England, and the only thing that consoles her is working on her father's automaton. But then her father dies and leaves their entire estate to their brother.
Arabella learns that her cousin Simon plans to travel to Mars to assassinate her brother so he can inherit the estate. The only way to prevent the murder is to try to get to Mars before him, and so Arabella disguises herself as a boy and gets hired on a ship by the dashing Captain Singh.
On the ship Diana, Arabella is in charge of the maintenance for the navigator automaton, but life on the spaceboat isn't easy.
It definitely doesn't qualify as a spaceship, or at least not in the way you're thinking.
There is apparently air in space in this universe. And as far as I can tell, the Diana is no means covered like your usual spaceship. The nearest I can tell is the ship looks like the one on the cover.
Anyway, Arabella's journey is fraught with dangers, and over the course she begins to fall for the captain because it wouldn't be Regency fiction if there wasn't a wedding at the end of it.
Arabella shows signs of being an outspoken, strong, modern-ish heroine. She's interested in tinkering and automatons and hunting and tracking the Martian way. She's uninterested in finding a husband and doesn't hesitate to go out and save her brother. But Arabella is very much operating within a Regency world standard. She's plucky, but only within the limits of what Regency fiction will allow her to be.
She's never going to convince society that a girl dressing or acting as a boy is acceptable, or that she won't faint the moment somebody discusses anything more intense than the weather, or that being alone with Captain Singh will not impugn her honor. There's no breaking of the gender rules.
You'd think that race would not be such a big deal, considering that the dark-skinned other is now outshone by the Martian population, but that's not the case. Captain Singh, an Indian man, still is discriminated against. Not as badly as he might have been, I guess, had there not been the Martians, but that's only maybe.
Character-wise, nobody really gets much development other than Arabella. Captain Singh is the only other character who gets fleshed out. He's brave and fair and intelligent, and that's pretty much about it. He functions as a wall for Arabella to bounce off of and someone for her to admire and eventually marry because honestly, he is her least bad option.
The two also rarely speak about anything other than the ship, so it doesn't really help their chemistry too much. We barely know him and they barely know each other, so by the end you might imagine the relationship looks a little bleak.
One thing Arabella of Mars has in spades is the description of the ship. Everything from how it deploys its three-mast structure to the units of measurement the ship uses have been planned out. David Levine knows every inch of the Diana.
I think more time was spent describing the ship than on the plot. And it would have been really cool if they had decided to include some blueprints of the Diana so that you could have gotten a really good feel for the layout.
If a Regency-style space vessel is something you've always wondered about, then you will not be disappointed by this book.
So while this book might not excel at character development or have a very complex plot, it does get a lot of points for style and concept.
I can't remember the last time I've read something with such an interesting combination of elements. I would have loved to learn more about how the Regency world would have been transformed by space travel and automatons.
And I would have been interested to learn more about Martian physiology and culture as well. Arabella of Mars might not be the most gripping sci-fi adventure out there, but if you're looking for something different to read, it's a good choice.